What's up, everyone? Welcome to another edition of Problem Solved. And you know what that means? That means there's another problem I'm hoping to help you solve. This one is a home improvement you can do yourself, and hopefully hopefully a lot of you aren't in the same situation. But in my house, windows have been in the house who knows how long, probably since it was built. So these are the old wooden sash. It's got the metal spring, I guess, loaded tensioners in the frame. They're all around the house. I replaced quite a few of them already. I figured I'd show you how you can do it yourself. It's not as hard as you might think. You don't need a contractor if you have some, I guess, a little bit of mechanical skills, and mostly using your head. You can refer to tutorials. You can refer to, there's plenty of information available nowadays online. Definitely check the instructions, follow through the instructions that come with the window. I'll show you, I guess, basically how to measure for the proper replacement window. Now this is just a replacement, so I'm taking out the old and I'm putting a brand new replacement, vinyl replacement window into the frame that this window is sitting in right now. It's not that hard. Take some time. You're going to require some tools, nothing really special. I'll show you that. If you have an old wooden leaky, this thing, you could see it's this is horrible shape. I pretty much band-aided them to get them to last this long, so there's no leaks. I redid paint and caulk all around the old aluminum. So these are the wooden frame, wooden sash, double hung windows with the aluminum storm windows and screens. This one didn't even have a screen, and it's missing parts, missing, I guess, one of the storm windows as well. It's been a long time coming. It's long enough, and I was hoping to share this with you and maybe help you be able to do the same thing yourself. Followed instructions as carefully as I could and checked on parts and materials and different ways of doing this. Mine might not be the best way, might not be the preferred way, but it works, and it's watertight, airtight, save you on heating, cooling. The efficiency is unmatched for today. I'm not talking we're going with Pella, several $100 windows. I'm talking about the Home Depot. I used the 70 Series Pro replacement, vinyl replacement windows from American Craftsman, I believe it is. And we'll go through all of that as well. I'll show you all the tools you need, and we'll go step by step. The thing you want to make sure of is that you have all the proper tools. You're going to need a drill. You could probably get away with a screwdriver, but better off with a power drill, a battery drill with a Phillips head tip. You're going to need a Prybar. This is for the demolition part. This Protectowrap is what I chose for the sill. It works really good for water protection, leak protection. You're going to need tape measure, your safety glasses, Phillips screwdriver potentially. Definitely need a knife. Scraper would help. You need a caulk gun, caulk, a hammer. I use the Alex Plus acrylic latex caulk plus silicone. I like Phenoseal better, but this one's cheaper, and you can use this one on the insides because it still does the same job. I just like the way painting over the Phenoseal works better, but it's double the price, and we're really just filling an air gap. So that stuff runs about $2 and change maybe, and the Phenoseal is probably upwards of $5 each one. We're probably going to go through 2 of them, so there's a little bit of savings there, and it does work as well, I think. and definitely have some gloves for the demolition part as well. I also have some insulation here in this bag. You're going to need extra insulation to pack the windows, the sides of it, the bottom and the top, for insulation of air leaks. You don't want air coming through in the winter. They do recommend using like an expandable foam, but I think this stuff just really makes a mess, and this is what has been used for years. Could be something better, but this has worked just fine for me. What you want to do is measure. So they recommend you measure from this corner, a middle, and the other corner, and down. So you go down and you see where the tape measures to the sill. It's not easy with a tape measure to get the exact. Right now it's just laying in there in the sill. You want to get as close as you can to exact. And you can see it's about 49 3/4. 50 would probably be too much, and 49.5 looks like too little, too short. But about 49 3/4, I would say, is what I came up with. And I did the corners, and they're about the same in this case. So that would be the height. Again, the bottom, somewhere in the middle, and up at the top is what's recommended. You want to make sure you're flush, not on this center divider. You want to be in there, basically the widest part. That's the frame. The actual window frame. 31 3/4. It could be closer to 32 because of this curvature of the tape. I think it's definitely beyond 31.5, and I came up with 32. You're basically looking for the smaller measurement is what you want to go by, the smallest measurement. If you have 3 measurements, for instance, at the bottom, the center, and the top, the smaller one is going to be basically the largest that the window could be that you want to order. So I had about 32 on the width, and about 49 3/4 is what I came up with on the height. So the next thing I did was I went online. I looked on Home Depot's website. They have these American Craftsman 70 Series Pro. It was in my price range. I don't think it's the cheapest window, and it's not the most expensive. It's what I used in other parts of the house, so I want to keep it the same. I took my measurements, and there you could see this model window is 32 by 50. But you look at the unit dimension, what's the actual size of the window? 31 3/4 by 49 1/4. That's definitely going to make it into the rough opening that we measured. You look at the existing opening range, the width and the height. The opening can be up from 31 7/8 to 32 1/8. So I definitely don't think it was beyond 32. So we fall right in that range on the width, and 49.5 to 50 for the height. So I was looking at 49 3/4. I was saying it was somewhere between 49.5 and a 50. So this should fit nice and snug, perfectly in the existing frame, hopefully without any issue, and any need to really make any major adjustments or shims or anything like that. We'll see how it goes. Before I even start the demolition, the very next thing I like to do is we have this molding here. This is like a stop molding. That's really holding the sash in right now from coming out. We can't take this out without this coming out. It's covered by paint, and probably on the outside you'll see a similar situation with silicone. Right here is the seam. It's hard to tell, but you could kind of tell. You could see it if you follow the line there. If it's covered with many years of paint, it's going to be tough to find. You want to get your knife. You're going to put your knife blade starting from the corner, and you're going to put the knife blade right in there, and try and make sure you're not just cutting your molding. You want to separate the paint basically so that these stop moldings come off easily, and I'll show you that next. So I already did this side. Wasn't perfect. It didn't actually. The paint was it was loaded on there pretty good. So it was a little messy, but it'll work. I'll show you what happens on the top here. You know, sometimes you go off course with old windows and layers and layers and layers of paint. But if you get it right, you get that blade right in there where the seam actually is, and then you go across, it kind of just opens up on its own. And that's really the point, what you want to do. It's not easy to do one-handed with holding the camera, but you want to get the blade in there and just go across so that it separates just like that. I'm going to do that all around and we'll pick up from there. Item you might need is a ladder. My situation on the outside, the window's kind of high up from the level ground. Now on the outside, the aluminum storm window screen system, that needs to be scored as well, and you're going to score right in the caulking. It should be sealed. I don't know if your caulk's missing. You'll just see, I guess, where the metal butts against the frame here. You're going to leave most everything, but this stuff here is all coming out from this point on. This is caulking in here. Oh, you can see right here, and you want to score there. Otherwise you'll be peeling a lot of paint away, and you'll have a mess on the outside you have to clean up. This way we're going to take all this out, this metal, and once that comes out with a nice score here along the seam, it'll come out clean. I'll show you what that looks like. Here you can see nice clean, pretty clean score line, and that's going to make all the difference in the world. Take the time, put the time in, apply the pressure to make a nice clean score all the way down. And again, all the way down, there's the corner. Make sure that you definitely cut through any caulking that's in there and go along the bottom as well. Next, we're going to take away the, we're going to remove this this molding, stop molding. You're going to put this scraper starting at some point along probably in the top here, and you're going to kind of wiggle it in, and you want to separate this molding from the side. It's going to be a little difficult, and you don't want to snap it because we're going to reuse this molding. So you're going to try and jam it in there. There's going to be screws or nails along the way. So you just see now it's opening. You want to give a little bit of pressure and pry it, and you want to work that all the way down. And you're going to go back and forth. You're going to go all the way down, and then you're going to wiggle it, open up the space, and you're going to repeat little by little. When you see the nails in there, you'll know the spots that you kind of got to pry a little bit further, but you don't want to pry too much at once. If you pry too much at once, you're going to crack it, and then you got a problem. You got something that you're going to have to replace, needlessly replace. So as I work it down, I know sticks sometimes on the bottoms and the tops, so you'd be extra cautious at the bottom and the top, and you just wiggle it and work it out a little bit wider, and you go back up even wider, and we're going to repeat that all along the inside window stops and remove them. The side windows stop off one side. I also forgot to mention, at this point you should put on your safety glasses. You definitely could get debris flying into your eyes. You don't want that to happen. Safety is always first. You don't want some kind of permanent injury from a simple do-it-yourself job. After the side's off, then it's easier to get the top out. You're going to work from one side around the top to the other side. The top is kind of sandwiching in on the sides. It's installed after the sides. So if you do it this way, you should ensure that you'll get them off clean without breaking any of the window stops.